Hi, I'm Bill Tierney with Sotheby's here in Cohasset, and I'm with my favorite top attorney, somebody I've worked with for 6, 7, 8 years now, Mark Stiles.
Hi, thank you for having me, Bill.
And today we're going to cover just a couple of tips of what's going on with the real estate transaction, and hopefully it makes your understanding of the process just a little bit better.
Awesome, looking forward to it.
Sounds good. Let's get started. First step, after I go out and I show somebody 5, 6, 8, 25 houses,
Yep.
we have to write an offer.
Okay.
Let's talk about what is an offer.
Okay, first of all, an offer is a contract in Massachusetts, and we're talking about Massachusetts only, I assume,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay. The case law has determined that an offer, if properly drafted, is actually a binding contract. So, very important, Bill, because a lot of times at this stage of the transaction, when you're working with the buyer, you're trying to find them the perfect home. You found that perfect home. It's fast, right? And the offer is usually drafted by you or
Yep.
the real estate professional in a situation where you'd be crazy enough not to use Bill. Is that good, Bill?
People make that mistake from time to time.
So oftentimes there's not a real estate attorney involved at this stage, and you're dealing with a Massachusetts contract. So consumers, you need to be working with a strong real estate professional in that situation. But it is a contract, and it sets the terms of the agreement. So in essence, Bill, what you're doing is you're saying, I want to buy your
When you
house.
do terms, which terms?
So you're basically saying to the owner of the home or their agent, I want to buy that house for this amount of money, and I'm willing to close on this date. Those are standard, typical terms that would create a contract if they were to accept that offer.
Yeah, that's great in the simplest terms, but there probably should be other things they offer.
There
it's
there
2
definitely
pages
should be.
and there's some.
There should be, and some of the standard forms have boilerplate printed out for a home inspection contingency. Home inspections, we always recommend them, but I know
People are waiving them now. Not something I ever recommend.
Yeah, in a competitive marketplace, sometimes that's going to happen. We always recommend having a professional home inspector look through the home and find out if there's any flaws, hidden or otherwise. And also, it's nice to go through and have the home inspector teach you how to use the house. Really, that's what I've always said to a lot of our clients. But there's also whether you're using a mortgage, right? Are you going to be financing with a mortgage? If you are, then you would certainly want a finance contingency in that offer
Yeah.
contract. So if they are to accept that, then you have a contingency where you can get out of the transaction prior to some certain date if you can't get financing. So you'll know, right? At this point, you should know, right?
Yep.
Because your buyers are usually pre-approved at this point, so we're already partly there, but it's more for the paperwork process for the lender. Give them enough time, speak to that team member who you're working with on the loan to determine how much time it will probably need. That's the financing contingency. Now, if it's a condominium bill, you're always going to want to put a contingency in there that allows you or your attorney to review the condominium
Yeah,
documentation.
because some of those rules can be onerous and surprising to buyers.
And you know, we've seen situations where someone had a pet, didn't realize that they can't have pets in the condo. That's not something you want to find out the day before closing. You want to find that out before you even sign the purchase and sale agreement.
Yeah, and if you know a good real estate agent knows which associations generally will do that, but certainly
Right.
you want to look at that. But speaking of financing, that gets into another thing. In a fast market like we're in now, let's talk about, should the property appraise?
So that's another provision. Not a lot of real estate professionals are entertaining the use of the contingency. The real estate professionals like yourself are always advising the client, hey, this is a rising market. We need to make sure that you're not overpaying. The property is listed at a certain price. Maybe there's a bidding war, maybe there's not, but you're still unsure of what that value is. You can put a contingency in there that the property appraises at or above the amount that you've agreed to pay.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to protect the consumer, and I think that's an important piece and something not to leave out.
And of course, if you're working with a financial professional and you need to sell your home, and the financial professional has told you, in order to be qualified to buy this home, you need to sell that home. Well, we're going to need to put that in the agreement as well. We don't want any surprises with the seller. We need to sell this home in order to buy the next home, and that's called a sale contingency bill. Those aren't as common, but in the situations where they need to be put there, they really need to be put there.
Well, yeah, this has been really helpful because there's a lot more pieces that go in there, and I think with experience, and one of the reasons I think you and I have worked together is mutual experience has helped us become a pretty useful team in working
Agreed.
together. So, lastly, I just want to touch on the team approach. One of the things you and I have found over the years is to be able to work in concert. Work with a mortgage guy that we know.
Yep.
You and I can recommend a couple very good ones. Work with an attorney that speaks well and actually doesn't speak legalese to either the consumer or the real estate agent, because sometimes I get lost in that stuff.
Yep, we try.
And the team approach is what's going to make for a seamless transaction, which is why Mark and I are in here doing some videos this morning.
And I agree with that, Bill. The key to having a team in place, and I know people have lawyers that they know or lenders or bankers that they know, but to have a team that work together, that can speak together offline without hesitation, that's important. There's lack of finger pointing that goes on. Well, why didn't you get this done? Well, why didn't you tell the consumer to send it to me? As opposed to, hey, how do we get this done? It's always key to have that holistic approach with the team.
Well, yeah, because when we do use lawyers in Massachusetts to close a transaction, but I've always loved your approach of let's keep the eye on. You have a seller who wants to sell a house and a buyer who wants to buy a house. Let's get everybody together.
Let's get them together.
Well, this is awesome. Thank you for watching my video. And if you have any questions, you can call myself or Mark.
Sounds good. Hey, thanks for having me, Bill.
Gladly. Thanks.